Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy Christmas. I hope everybody is doing good and great. Uh, we are live. Uh, I'll be more than happy if somebody can just put down in the live chat that you are able to hear us. Sounds great. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas. I believe what I can say in these tough days, everyone that stay safe. I hope your loved ones are doing good and they are safe. And may God bless you all with a lot of love, happiness, and a healthy life ahead. So, this Christmas, everybody says that we need to give the gifts and share something, a good wishes, I should say. So, what I decided, I should say, in these tough time, the best part, or I should say, uh, the best gift that anybody can give to other is the power, or I should say, the knowledge, or I should say, the love that is unforgettable, or I should say it's incomparable to anything. So what I decided that instead of giving some gifts, I should empower you all with knowledge, or I should say I should empower you with the learnings that I had in my life, and give you a gift where you all can be the contributors for the open source, which I am a big fan of. सो आज सुबह मैं ऐसे ही अपना रेगुलर यूट्यूब देख रहा था और मैंने एक वीडियो के गो थ्रू हुआ, और आई गेस वो वीडियो सब लोगों ने देखी होगी, बट मुझे नहीं पता कि कितने लोग उससे रिलेट कर पाते हैं या नहीं. आई गेस एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट दैट द केबीसी विनर हु वॉन द 5 करोड़ रुपीज. एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट वाज नाउ ही इज सेलिंग मिल्क. मतलब एक टाइम पे जिसने रातों रात 5 करोड़ रुपए कमाए, आज के टाइम पे वो इंसान कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा है. मतलब दैट साउंड्स रियली स्ट्रेंज टू मी, or I should say, how that can be possible that a person who has earned 5 crore rupees is now just selling a milk. I certainly click to that part, that what happens to the people that if they are being bombarded with lot of things, like, the best part is, if I am expecting 1 kgs of food, and if I'll be able to get 10 kgs, the only thing is the reaction is going to happen to me and I'll be having that bad health. सिमिलर थिंग हैपेंस. पैसा आपके पास अगर बहुत ज्यादा एक बार में आ जाए ना, आप संभाल नहीं सकते क्योंकि देखा ही नहीं है उतना कभी. सिमिलर थिंग हैपेंस विद द स्टूडेंट इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड, व्हिच आई सी दैट दे आर बीइंग अट्रैक्टेड टू लॉट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजीज, and what they feel in the end is that they just heard the names and now it is in and out. And that's the reason, one of the finest reasons to face the failures. सेकेंड थिंग, मैं मतलब आज अपनी एक मॉम की बात को रिकॉल कर रहा था, एंड आई थॉट ऑफ लाइक दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई शुड शेयर विद यू ऑल एज अ क्रिसमस गिफ्ट. And first of all, like, thank you so much to my lovely sister, my little sister, for doing this setup for me, for doing the today's Christmas special stream. So I was like interacting with my mom about, like, I should say 10 years back, and she taught me one thing is, in today's world, everybody's dream is to build a luxury house for your family or for yourself, that can be like counted that he has its own house, right? मेरे मॉम ने मेरे से एक सवाल पूछा कि यार, किसी का भी घर कितना भी छोटा या बड़ा हो सकता है, बहुत सबकी अपनी अपनी डिपेंड के अकॉर्डिंग, सबकी अपने अपने स्टेटस के अकॉर्डिंग, सबकी अपने अपने बैंक बैलेंस के अकॉर्डिंग, वी क्रिएट आवर ओन हाउस, वी क्रिएट आवर ओन किंगडम. Important thing is, this luxury or this architect that you are able to see in front of you, what is the most important thing in that entire architecture? Is it the lightnings? Is it the decoratives? Or I should say, it is those materialistic things that you are able to see around, or to which the people sees? Or the most important thing which my mother told is, the second option is that first brick that you have kept as a founding stone, which actually it has created this entire luxury architectural thing or a materialistic thing that you are able to see. And I was able to correlate in the morning that, hey, I'm doing this Christmas stream. Why I should not give you that founding stone for everyone? Now, thing is, we are the tech freaks, we are the technical people, we always talk about the technical skill development and all. Most important thing is we need to build our foundation strong, so that uh, luxuriness which people sees should exactly look like what we have expected. So today, what I want to give you a gift that, hey, build your first foundation, understand about the open source, understand that what it takes to be a contributor. And in upcoming days, I'll be hosting multiple sessions with multiple different themes and organization, where you as an individual get to learn that why it is important to adapt the open culture, why it is important to be an open source enthusiastic person, and why it is equally important to be the contributor, because at the end of the day it's all about giving back to the community. आज मेरे साइड में मस्त डेकोरेशन लग रही है, अगर ये नहीं भी होती तो मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Reason is, I know where I am coming from. I know what I am doing. What I am doing, what I am saying is actually purely from my heart. And I believe this heart reaches out to you on this Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. Jumping on to the session. So, आज का जब मैं सेशन प्लान कर रहा था, आई वॉज इन थॉट कि यार मल्टीपल क्वेश्चंस मेरे दिमाग में चल रहे थे, लाइक कि यार किसको बुलाया जाए. सो आई थॉट ऑफ कि यार कोई ऐसा इंसान को बुलाता हूँ जो मस्त कोई बड़े से कॉलेज से ग्रेजुएट हुआ हो, लाइक आईआईटी एनआईटी, मस्त एकदम कॉलेज वाला. फिर मैंने कहा यार ठीक है, कॉलेज से भी ग्रेजुएट, कुछ और मिर्च मसाला उसमें डाला जाए. सो देन आई थॉट ऑफ लाइक इनवाइटिंग अ पर्सन कि यार हु हैज इट्स ओन विकिपीडिया पेज. ओके, देन आई थॉट ऑफ कि यार if I want to touch my foundation stone, his contribution should be acknowledged across the globe also. कि यार कुछ ऐसा कंट्रीब्यूशन उसने इंसान ने किया हो जो सबको एक्नॉलेजेबल हो, जो सबको दिख सके. देन नेक्स्ट थॉट आया मेरे दिमाग में कि यार जब इतना सब कुछ मैं अगर जोड़ रहा हूँ कि वो आईआईटी एनआईटी बड़े बड़े कॉलेज से पास आउट हो, उसका विकिपीडिया पेज हो, उसके मतलब उसके कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस भी एक्नॉलेज हो, तो कुछ एक्सपीरियंस भी 20-25 साल का होगा, तभी कुछ बात बनेगी. Then again, as everybody, like you all might be thinking that yaar agar itna sab kuch hoga to person must be also coming from the Microsoft, Google, Facebook, or something like that. Now, what I decided is that I am talking about an open source person, and I should invite the person who has taught me that what it takes, even for a known coder, to be the contributor. And he is actually one of my friend. I found him about like 3 years back when I joined Red Hat, and I was the person who was looking, desperately looking, to be the contributor. And he actually taught me that to be a contributor you just need to have that idea, that why you want to be the contributor. He's my friend, he's my buddy, he's a Fedora G-Shock admin, he's a Fedora quality engineer. And I guess you all know, when we just popped out his poster, he's Mr. Sumantro Mukherjee. I'm just quickly inviting him on the stream. Hey, Sumantro, sir, how are you?
Hey
Merry
Gaurav,
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and the entire Cheers Gaurav, Cheers with Gaurav family.
Cheers. So, in our like let's cheers sessions, this cheers belongs to you for today's. This is looking
This
similar
is
like to
water.
me. Storm,
That's cool.
like
Yeah, that's a cool brand.
cheers to you, Sumantra sir. Welcome and thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Yeah. So why don't you quickly tell? Means I'm a big fan of yours. You have been a friend, mentor, brother, or I should say a guide for whatever I am doing in the open source world. It is being one of you are the one of those inspiration through which I am doing all this thing. Why don't you just tell our audience that what all the things that you have been doing all these years? Yes.
So 6.5 years back, I was exactly like a very normal guy. About 7 years back, I was a very normal guy. I did not have much to go for, but I had a dream. A dream
Yeah.
was to build myself so that, going forward, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to tell about myself. People should be able to Google my name, my first name,
Okay.
not my last
Uh-huh.
name also. Should be my
Uh-huh.
first name. And they should be
Yeah.
able to know what am I doing, what
Mm-hmm.
organizations I'm part of, what
Mm-hmm.
code I have written, what tests I have run, what I contribute to. So it was like a thing. And I had
Mm-hmm.
fair share of people that I learned from. I had a lot of people who supported me, my managers at Red Hat, the manager at Red Hat, sorry, who supported me a lot. Then people like you, people like Rudra, and like very special people came into my life, right? As I kept joining this open source universe. And the fun thing that happened is after I had that dream in place, that is the first stone that I put, right? I said that this is the first brick. I would want to start with my open source contribution in a way that
Mm-hmm.
if today is my the last day I'm contributing, I will make sure every single day counts. It's not about building that big house. It's about every day, every brick that you put, how much effort you put into making sure that brick is there, and
Yes.
how much effort you put into making sure that the hard work is there, the dedication is there, right? So, and cut to 6 years, right? I'm in Red Hat right now. I've been there for a lot of communities. You have talked
Yes.
a bit about me, but yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's that dream, the drive, the motivation,
Yes.
that flows. And it's a very special quote that I ran into a few days before. It goes like very simple. It's like wherever your focus goes, your energy flows and result shows, right? So if you
Oh,
put your focus somewhere,
awesome.
your your all your energies would go into it, and results will show, no exceptions,
Agree.
right?
सर मतलब
So
आपने वो बात बोली है आज जो मेरे ख्याल से आज के हर एक स्टूडेंट को कोरिलेट करना चाहिए. When you have
exactly,
certain achievements, your results should show. You need not to
exactly,
speak about that. Means I'm so like now in that thinking zone again that every single time I interact to you, I goes in that if Elon Musk has to come and say that, hey, look, I have invented a SpaceX, I have invented Tesla. What is the use of doing all those things? The people should talk about your certain achievements, and I believe that what makes you great. You rightly started that. If you Google my first name, everything you can find it out there, and that was your dream. And oh man, I'm blessed to have you again on the stream. Thank you
so
so much for accepting to build that foundation brick for everyone out there. And I
so
guess we have our very special cheers coming onto the screen. Cheers to
yes,
Garuda ma'am
yes,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, Sumantro sir, that is very much like the thing. I want to ask you a very straightforward question. That, according to you, what is open source?
So, according to me, Gaurav, if you ask what open source is to me, open source is what I call as a software development model followed by a lot of
Hmm.
companies. Now, you can take it like you can take it as simple as a way by which I want to develop or give this community or the world a piece of software which follows
Hmm.
some set of principles and some set of ethics. Every one of us builds software, every one of us can build a software, right?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
depends of what kind of ethics you put into it, what kind of licenses you put to it, what it does, and how it impacts the community. So like I
Hmm.
said, right, every software has its impact points, right? Some
Hmm.
impact students, some impacts customers, some of them impacts developers.
Yeah.
What kind of impact you want to put, that
Hmm.
is defined by the software development model of that particular software. And open source is a software development model. In this model,
Hmm.
you can actually build a software which has five very specific qualities. You
Hmm.
know, the five pillars, and
Pillars.
Fedora
Yeah.
specifically expresses these pillars. Um, you know, in a very simple way. I mean, you don't need to actually understand a lot, but I mean, when Fedora shows its pillars, project pillars, basically, they talk about something called, the first thing is called features, right? Now, every software that you see, there should always be new features, coming to that. I mean, basically just coming to that particular, project or that particular segment. Let's be precise. Fedora is operating system. You don't want more
Mm-hmm.
security out of an operating system. You want more usability out of an operating system, and so on and so forth are your features, right?
Yes.
Next comes a very important thing, which is when it comes to features, you
Mm-hmm.
need to have something that I usually refer to as the most important part of the project, which is freedom, right? The
Mm-hmm.
freedom to distribute the code, freedom to write and contribute to the project, freedom
Mm-hmm.
to express your interest to doing something, and freedom to be able to change the project the way you like. That's freedom for you, right? So that's the second biggest pillar of open source. So when we ask going forward any person in the room that what open source is, everybody comes up with things like I can change the code, I can distribute the code, I can do this. All of this is summed up in this one word called freedom, right? So the
Agreed.
second biggest pillar is freedom, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot, when you are an open source software model, it means you innovate, you do your R&D, you innovate on new things. So
Mm-hmm.
you are the person who has the features that we are talking about. You're the first person to have implemented it. So
Yeah.
now here is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a very famous quote in the industry, which is, if you are to take a change, if you have to make a change, you have to be the first person to change it for
Change.
yourself, then anyone will, right? So
Great.
trust
Great.
has to be, trust is a two-way street. You have to
Mm-hmm.
trust yourself first, and then you can trust the driver in front of you, right? So even when you are learning to drive, let's say,
Yes.
you trust yourself that you have good driving skills, and then only you can trust the other person that okay, they will also have good driving skills, so you won't bump into
Yes.
each other. So trust is a two-way street. Now here's the
Yeah.
fun, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
have trust given to you, in open source, we basically just make sure that we innovate and we are the first person to do it for every single feature, if not every single feature, but every single change that we want to make to the project. So,
Great.
biggest example is we broke a lot of news regarding this in Fedora, which is Fedora first came out and changed its file system. So SUSE did it before, but Fedora changed its entire desktop file workstation files variant file systems to BTRFS
Mm-hmm.
few months
Yeah.
back. It
Mm-hmm.
was a very big change. To be very precise, people were very skeptical. Some of them were like, "BTRFS doesn't work for me. Doesn't is not good for stability. Is not good for this. It's not good for that." But as a project, we took a step. Right? We took a step to make things better. So we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to contribute to the BTRFS upstream, and the biggest way we could make that impact was to change the entire variant of Fedora into either new BTRFS, right? And this actually gives me that trust now that I am running a BTRFS workstation for like 1 year now.
Yeah.
It's perfectly smooth and fine, right? I know
Great.
that I trust BTRFS. I can go tomorrow and say I am trusting BTRFS because that is important, right? That is
Yeah.
how it is supposed to be. That is how it is going for. So
Yes.
that's the third pillar. The fourth pillar, and which is very important, is we all need friends.
Friends.
Friends are very important.
Yes.
I cannot stress you this when you said that you met me 3 years back and we started talking about things.
Yes.
We first became friends. You need to be a friend to start anything, any sort of relationship, be it with your customers, be it with your girlfriend, be it with anyone. You need to start as a friend. That's important. That's the key. Here's the thing,
Yes. Yes.
In open source, a project like Fedora, these are the four pillars. And this is the kind of the overall pillars for everyone. Friends, freedom, features, and first. So these are the four basic pillars on which any open source policy, or rather software development model, stands. Anyone
Right.
which follows these features can be classified as an open source project. Like that's the overall
Awesome.
thing that we are
I
looking
guess what best it could be to hear it from you that talking about friends, talking about freedom, talking about the features, or talking about that trust which we give to you. I guess even for all the viewers who are watching, and even all for all the people who are going to watch our this video, it is best to have that understanding that if you want to be an open source contributor, if you have these four qualities, I guess everything is done. You just have these four pillars, the four F's with you, and we are there to help you out. Awesome, sir. And when we say Fedora, or I should say, many of the people knows about Fedora, or I guess people must have heard this Fedora as a OS, Fedora as an operating system.
at. Yes.
Can you, you being as a Fedora org admin for Google Summer of Code, and you have been into the council a year back also for Fedora, can you please tell our viewers that what Fedora means?
Um, I mean, in short, it pays my paycheck, but other than that part aside, right?
Yes.
Fedora is basically by far the most approachable, welcoming open source project, right? The deliverable is an ISO, which
Mm.
everybody of us knows. Whoever uses Linux
Yes.
knows there is Fedora Linux, there is something, right?
Hmm.
A lot of people, if you go technical down, because this session is all about how a non-coder can start, right? So I'm
Yes.
not going to be like a huge techie guy saying, hey, we are supposed to learn this, that, because that dissolves the purpose of the entire thing, right? So if you go too deep into Fedora, a lot of people might say it's the upstream, it's the downstream, and so on and so forth. But here is the thing: Fedora, in short, is basically just a operating system. To the world, it's an operating system.
Hmm.
But your question was, what is to me, right? So for
Uh,
me, it is a lot more than just an operating system. It's more like having a family of people trying to work for a common goal. And the common goal is to make an operating system more reachable to students, developers, any kind of people who want to run their project as an open source project, right? So
mhm.
it's more like having your own bunch of people who you want to talk to, work with, not only to enhance your skill set, but to also understand the values and the ethics of open source, and you work with
So,
them. Like, so
mhm.
understand it this way. For me, I would wake up every morning, and this is a very interesting thing. I would wake up every morning. I'd, let's say, open my Fedora um, desktop.
Mhm. Mhm.
Every day I would see something new getting added, something new which I wouldn't see the day before.
Yeah.
And this very small thing, see, I'm not changing anything, but there's a set of people who are, right? And I'm extremely grateful that they are doing that. And here's the fun.
And those are our best friends right out there.
Exactly. So
Yes.
I am not doing, but I am reaping the benefits of the people who are, right?
Who are?
So it is
Yes.
always when I look at something new and I love it, usually I test, but other than that, you know, it's more of that appreciation towards the community. It's giving back to the community. It drives me to do something for the community. So the way that I would want to put is basically a family,
Hmm.
which every day I boot my machine, I see something new, which is
Something
very,
new.
very interesting to me. And
The
three,
features.
I can give back to the community. There's nothing bigger gift than to see something new, test it out, and then if there is some bug, if there is something, give something new back. Now I have hardly written a lot of code since last 4 years at Red Hat, to be very honest. And my work is testing, right? And it includes a bit of Python here and there, but it doesn't include me to be like a top-notch coder. So I am one of those people, and I'm coming to you and saying, you can actually make a career out of yourself even if you are not like someone who is extremely good at data structures, has done competitive coding for 4 years, and so on and so forth, right? I have seen people
Mhm.
who have done that. I have seen
Yes.
people who love doing that. And yes, that's also a kind of ambition to have. But you know,
Yeah.
yes, you can definitely do a lot without having to be the best so-called
Great.
coder in the block.
So I guess I personally love this part that Fedora is all about the family. So even if we are
Exactly.
reiterating our pillars, Fedora is a family that every single morning you woke up and you get some additional features which are being tested or which are being developed by few of your
Exactly.
friends and give you the freedom to test your friend's skills which they have given it to you.
Yes.
Awesome. So I guess friends in the OP हो जाए यार एक बार और Fedora in the OP हो जाए. So I believe Fedora and friends, these two words should be there in the OP for Sumantro sir at least, so that he knows that the few of the viewers are the Fedora lovers over here itself. So Sumantro sir, talking about, you just mentioned that you are even just like me, even I should say you are way better than me in terms of coding, because when it comes to
So
coding, I
here is
am
one thing I would like to say.
that bad, like
No,
showing
I would like
just
to say
zero towards it. Yes.
we all are same. So let's in open source, everybody is same. Nobody
Okay,
is bigger, nobody is
I'll
smaller.
reiterate
So
that word.
everybody is
So,
same.
what I want to say, if I lack in a bit of coding, which I believe many people over here thinks that to be the contributor, you
Hmm,
need to be good in coding, or I should say, you should have a good understanding of codings and skills like that.
hmm.
When it comes to Fedora, so what opportunities the people get if they don't know coding and still they want to be the contributor? So how they can get start? Can you please help all my those friends who want to be a contributor, but I should say because of the coding skills which they don't have as a top notch coder, how they can get started with the Fedora, and what are the different opportunities in the Fedora to be a contributor in the non-tech side? Yeah,
So to start with,
in
Gaurav,
non-coding side. Sorry. Yes.
here's the important thing. So first, let me
Yes.
get one thing out of the way before I start. Right. So
Hmm.
first, in Fedora and in entire open source, which follows the practices, nobody actually is going to be judgmental about you not knowing coding. Like you can come up and directly say, I don't know coding. I have never done this in my life. I want to get started. And let me tell you something.
Hmm.
When um, I started my things with Mozilla, there
Hmm.
was a thing called Firefox OS, and I recently learned HTML. And I
Hmm.
just started doing basic HTML app development, which was just writing a simple HTML page and then converting putting a little bit of logic with JavaScript here and there, and it would turn like an app. It would basically, let me tell you, that is not what industry looks at when it tells coding, right? It is the bare minimum understanding of how things work. Right? That's all I
Hmm.
had when I started contributing. So 7 odd years back when I started, there was nothing much other than that. I used to do a lot of community evangelism. I was most
Hmm.
likely a person who would go out to the community, learn about what's happening, what's going on, how can I improve my skills. And I used to give a lot of talks, a lot of developer talks, right? So here's the fun. The first thing that you need to understand when it comes to contribution is you have to be open to new possibilities. That's the biggest learning. The biggest takeaway is if you are coder, non-coder, be open to new possibilities of learning. Simple.
Hmm.
Now, there is the myth in the industry is if you are not a developer, well, it, you are not that great. Now, here's the thing.
You're not
I'm
that
going to
great.
be
Yes.
on your face and tell you that's not how things are. A lot of things in the project, much like I'll tell you an interesting thing. Tomorrow, you want to build look at any successful company, like look at Google, look at Netflix, right? Even though their product is basically a streaming service or let's say a multiple set of services, they still need accounting, they still need documentation, they still need um, legal, they still need a lot of arms to work, right? Without those, the company cannot function. As simple as that, right? It's not going to be the most efficient company in the planet. As simple. The same way when it comes to a project, I will tell you a very, I'll tell you from my understanding of things. So there, I don't want to name projects, but here is how it is. Let's say I take project X as an example, right? It's a very efficient project, very good project. A lot of development work has got into the thing, which is developers have come, written code, lot of code. And let's say tomorrow I tell you this is an open source project. Great. You and I take it for the fact that we don't know coding. We look at that code base and we are like, oh hell, this one line of code is not even getting in my head. And
Yes.
there is possibly no documentation because when the developer has written the code, they never thought someone would need a documentation, right? So they never wrote documentations. So when we contributors look at the code, we look at nothing. We are basically looking at no ways for us to contribute to the project. And that kills the very essence of open source. Remember how I said that it is very important for us to be able to contribute? That's the essence of open source. If
Yes.
people are not able to contribute, that project is not following the essence of open source.
Mm-hmm.
And hence, documentation is one thing which is very, very, very important to have in plate when it comes to doing any successful project. The same way, think about it. A developer has written a lot of code. A lot of code is there. Nobody has tested this code. Nobody has run this code. And the fun is when Docker came into picture, containers came into picture. There was a meme. Meme was that मेरे मशीन पे तो चलता है तो तेरा मशीन में उठा के क्लाइंट को थोड़ी देके आऊं. That was the
Yeah.
meme, right?
Yes.
So for every developer, the running joke is मेरे मशीन पे चलता है.
ये तो चल रहा है.
Pure, pure.
क्लाइंट तो तेरा
Great.
मशीन थोड़ी ना देखा होगा. बिल्कुल
So
सही.
you need testing, right? You
You
need
need
people
testing.
to test the code. You need people to test the functionality. Testing is not a
Exactly.
one thing process. It's a multi-level process, right? So I might be a developer. I might look at your
Mm-hmm.
code and be like, this is the most not the most efficient way of writing this code.
Mm-hmm.
Now, essentially, let me tell you, even though I say as a developer, this is not the most efficient way of writing the code, for a user, the thing can be even the most efficient way of writing the code or the way that it is written. For a user, it might be very troublesome to even use that piece of software. Think
Mm-hmm.
of it, technically think like this, that the design of the software is so poor that even though the most efficient algorithm has been put into that software and you're given a very, very bad CLI to use that software, you'd be like, wait, you handed me a very, it's like having the answer to all the questions of your life written in A4 size paper, right?
And it's a
Most
language that
efficient.
you don't know.
Yes, efficiently, let's say गौरव शर्मा के सारे लाइफ के आंसर्स एक A4 साइज के पेपर में लिख के मैंने थमा दिया है. See, very efficient. It has all answers of your life questions, but can it serve you any good? It's not readable. It's not usable. So
It
answers
is
का
just
क्या
like
करोगे?
claiming that I just look like
Exactly.
a Doraemon.
Oh no, you were hitting them. Actually, you look better now. So here's the fun.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
hence, right, design is very important. Stressing
Design
on this,
is.
design is
Yes.
very important. So if you
Mhm.
want to make efficient software or project, design is super important. Now, fun part, I give you a design, you understand English, everything, every documentation, everything other than that is written in, I mean, everything is written in Chinese and given to you. Fun
Not gonna.
is very efficient software done by developers, but everything is in Chinese. And now you would go like, oh well, very efficient software, but who is using this?
Who is using
Is the
this?
fun. Hence, that is not, that is again not so great when it comes to having your open source project. Right? Good.
Mhm. True.
Now let's come back to another very important part, and this I think is very important. Is every open source project has a specific set of people who would look at things like outreach, right? Things like where people can make more friends. Because it's integral part of open source. It grows. So if
Mhm.
it has to grow, think of it like this. There has to be a way by which there is a magazine or there is some developer event, there is some event that goes on where the person from the project comes and speaks, so on and so forth, right? These has to be coordinated.
Yeah.
That requires set of volunteers. That's another way of contributing. See, all of this put together would make the project usable. Without this,
So
the project is literally not
I
usable.
guess I guess you put it down some of the points. Let me put it back. A successful project would be like a good code, okay,
Yes.
a good documentation, okay, a good design, okay,
Mm-hmm.
a quality testing, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and something that can help you to be open, or I should say, something which is accessible to the entire community. And that how you can see the entire project should look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you want to be a contributor, so I guess for all the friends who are
Suddenly
watching
stop
out
moving.
here, yeah,
You're getting okay.
so
Sorry.
means
Bata.
what I want to say is like the people who claim that if you want to be a contributor, you need to be a good developer. So I guess now people, you know that there are multiple ways to be a contributor. You can be a good writer, you can be a good tester, you can be a person who promotes that particular community things into the community, you can be the person who loves designing. So anything that you come across, being a designer, being a documentation expert, being a quality engineer, or I should say the testers, or if I should say the person who loves the developing, there
Yep.
are multiple roles available in a project to be the contributor. So, sir, can you show us, like you being the Fedora org admin for Google Summer of Code, you have been mentoring a lot of students in different multiple projects. Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell that if I want to be the contributor at Fedora, what
Mm-hmm.
thing that I need and how I can get start, or I should say, I should proudly say, let's
Yes.
Fedora. Yeah,
So, easiest thing. So let's just go on to a very important part, which should basically suffice. Let me share my screen. See, because sharing screen is an important part of a meeting, right? Without that,
sure.
meeting's not
I'll
complete. So you
and
have to
also
add.
like while this screen come onto the screen, guys, there is this very special announcement coming towards the end of our session, because this is Christmas, and as usual in our trends there will be a lot of surprises going out. So there is a very
Mm-hmm.
special announcement towards the end which me and Sumantro sir will be taking out for you all. So
Yep.
please stay tuned and be very much good that there is a something very special and exclusive for you all from the Cheers with Gaurav and like Sumantro sir. So please stay connected, and I believe now everybody can see the screen also. Yes, Sumantro sir, please.
All right. So if you guys can see my screen, so
Yes, we
this is
can.
the documentation side of it, right? So
Okay.
here's the interesting thing. If I
Mhm.
go down and I said that there are two kind of documentations. So this half of the first half of documentation talks about what Fedora is like an operating system, right? So we
Yeah.
have 33, 32, the Quick Docs, IoTs, Silver Blues, and CoreOS. Now,
Hmm.
am not jumping into any of this because this is not relevant, but this is all you get to see as an ISO thing.
Hmm.
This, however, is basically the entirety of this is basically the community part of it. Now, if I look at engineering teams, so if I open the engineering team, here is the interesting thing. So if you have engineering team, you will see that there is a bunch of topics over here, and I'm going to talk about, let's say, QA. So I'm going to open QA. If you look at it, it has a very specific set of activities that you need to do. Now, this is one simple way of finding a specific team. However, if you're confused, there is always, so there is a running joke which says, you can always do, what can I do
To
for Fedora? And
Fed.
and here's the thing, a lot of people, they actually, go ahead and they ask me, um,
What can I do for Fedora? You just
what
Google it.
Yeah, so that's the easiest question to ask, right? What can I do
Yes.
for Fedora? And the answer is that is how it is. So
Yes.
you can basically go ahead and ask, what can I do for fedora.org? And it would basically give you all the ways you can contribute. Like it can tell you interest, a way by which you can pick your interest. So let's say if you want to go for design, right?
Hmm.
You can click totally and it can tell you which team is responsible for it. Let's say the design team is responsible for it, right?
Hmm.
So you say this. Now you have to even pick more finer stuff. Do you want to do general design? Do you want to do a specific kind of design task? Do you want to? So let's say I pick general kind of design. And now it will point me to a wiki page which has all the steps that's required for you to
To
get
join
started.
designer. Yes.
So now this is very important that you make a choice. You can make as much amount of choices. So let's say,
Hmm.
not in my, so I am a very poor UI developer and a very poor design person. So
Hmm.
not on my life is I'm going to do design, right? So let's go
Yeah.
to coding. I don't want to do
Hmm.
coding either, right? So no.
Hmm.
Now comes community operations. And this is the set of people who connect all the dots in the project. So they would talk to your QA, your documentation, your translations, and everybody to make it work. So the moment I
Yes.
go for this, now it comes to how to join community operations team. And the moment
Hmm.
I say sounds awesome, it would point me to a community operation page. And if you look at it, it has all the things that is required. You can see there is appreciation week that Fedora does. There is a community blog that you can be a part of. You can write about Fedora's news, updates, things that are important for community. You can see some stats over
Yes.
here. There are 55 authors already. So the moment you join, you probably would be you would at least have 55 friends who are already contributing to ComOps, right?
Yes.
And then the set of resources that you can see, and then the workflow and the meetings. And here's the interesting thing: a lot of people have a set meeting timing when it comes
Mm.
to the work, right? So all
Okay.
these teams, they meet sometime every week,
Hmm.
and they talk about how the thing is going. Like for example, the QA team meets Mondays 1600 UTC, and now it's Christmas holiday, so they don't. But on a normal day, when they meet, we talk about what's going on in QA, who are the new people who are new people who are getting added, how many people have any problems, specific bugs that they have come up to, and all the information is basically just put forward in a form of IRC. So if you look at it,
Yes.
there's a ComOps IRC channel on Freenode. And if
Mm.
you don't know how to set up your Freenode and you feel that is too 1960s way of communication, you can just download an app called Telegram and join this group called ComOps, right? And then that group would have, you know, that group will have a list of things that they are focusing on right now. So that's community operations for you. I can go back and I can just say, nope, not on my life, nope, and get me out of here. And then I can just say next. And now I come to writing, right? And this goes writing, and then a translation, and then advocacy, and then packaging, and then QA and testing. So there are a
Mm.
lot of things that um, that we basically have when it comes to getting started. So
Yeah.
it doesn't require you to be just a coder per se.
So I guess people who all are watching and who are gonna like watch our stream later. So now you have a plenty of options, and all these links will be out there in our description. I have already put it down in the video's description that what can I do for Fedora, all the quick accessible link. So Sumantro sir, when it comes to like the QA part, means the quality
Yeah.
assurer, or I should say the
Yep.
person who is basically responsible to tell us that what the developer has done is actually working fine in the final product or not, and when I'm going to put it across on the uh, availability for the entire public to use it, or our friends to test it at Fedora, and even to the across the globe community people,
Mm-hmm.
how I can be the I should say the QA, or when I want to be a QA, how I can reach there. So all these options I can easily go and find it down in the what can I do for Fedora. And thank you so much, Vishal, for mentioning that link out there. And also this link can be easily seen in the description of this video. But
Mm-hmm.
if I specifically want to, sir, let's say join the QA team,
QA.
so how I
Sure.
can do that?
So the easiest way is you create something
Mhm.
called a FAS account, right? And the
Okay.
FAS account is basically just a account which has your details on it. So it
Hmm.
tells the Fedora project who you are, what's your email
Hmm.
address, and
Hmm.
sometimes when Fedora is sending you gifts like swags and all, so they need to know
Oh,
which time zones you are from, what you are, who you are, how, and what, blah blah, right? So that's just your identity on the internet, right? So my
awesome.
identity in Fedora is Shumantro M, right? So
Okay.
that's my identity. That's how I'm known.
Mhm.
So if I am to go ahead and stick around, and I'm going to tell myself that, oh yeah, this is very good. I just want to make sure that things are working fine. If I am to test, the first thing I need is, see, as the very running joke in the industry is, if it is not tested, it is broken. Like that's how I
Yes.
look at it, right? If it's not
Yes.
tested, it's broken, right?
It's broken.
So if I'm to take it that way, and
Hmm.
if I'm to explain what QA does, I need two accounts. One is an account by which I would test, so that's my FAS.
Hmm.
One is the account I require to report my bugs. And that is where a tool called Bugzilla comes into picture. And this Bugzilla is an industry-wide tool which is used to record and store bugs in softwares,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
you need to have these two accounts to get started. So one is your FAS account and the other is a Bugzilla account. Now,
So
when it
for all
comes
the
to,
viewers, I have also put it down a quick link in the description to join the Fedora QA group, or I should say, when you want to get
yes,
start with the QA, I have already put it across right over there. You just go and click on that link. I should say it should be second or third link, and even I have clearly mentioned. You just go there, click on it, and you will be redirected to all the set of lists that you need to get start, be and to
exactly.
register to yourself, be a contributor. Yes, sir.
So now when it happens that this is how it goes and how things are, when you go ahead and select yourself for the QA group and you basically just stick around for about 5-10 days, you should be able to see a lot of things keep coming around which require testing, right?
Yeah.
And then the easiest way to get started is to introduce yourself first to the people and tell who you
Fedora.
are, why
Mhm.
are you here, what you are going to test. So let's say
Okay.
Gaurav is very good with Ansible. I'm just gonna pick on you because you are my candidate, right? So Gaurav is very good with Ansible, and Gaurav wants to test Ansible, right? Now he wants
Yeah.
to test Ansible with, let's say, Podman, right? Just an
Mhm.
example. So he wants to test Ansible with Podman. So he needs to test Ansible and Podman. So those are two packages in the entire of Fedora that he wants to test. So he would first create his FAS, go out, create a Bugzilla, and in Bugzilla, he is going to just go ahead and introduce himself on a mailing list. And this is what we call as introductions. This is very important when you go for dinner, right? And you don't know five people around you. You basically say, let's start with the person in the table first. So everybody introduces themselves and everybody gets to know who they are, right? So the introduction email just gets that off the way. So I know who you are, why you are here. Moving on, you are
Okay.
going to explicitly say why you are there. And you can either do it by saying it, or you can just keep on testing and people can see your logs because it is open source. You
It
can
is
see
open
in
source.
logs and say, oh, well, this person is testing such things. So, which means they have the knowledge of this specific technologies. And that's
Yeah.
how you know open source works. That's what giving back to the community is. So you see something new that interests you, you go test it. Here's the fun. I'm gonna share my screen very quickly, so it'll be
Sure.
great if you can just put it up out there. I'm gonna go and show you something. Can you see a pod, man?
Yeah, we can. Yes.
Right. So this is a
So,
very simple thing
just for
called.
my understanding, sir, are we gonna do the live testing right now, or I should say, are we gonna do the live contribution as of now?
You can give me a sec and I can
Mhm.
confirm that to you.
Because, like, when I say to all the viewers, means I know, sir, the people are there and they don't trust me, that if I'm not a good developer, I cannot be a contributor. I want like everybody to know that if I can contribute, you all are
Hmm.
the brilliant mind who can contribute to anything out
Two,
there,
exactly.
right?
So here's the
Yeah.
important thing.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not going to jump into every single detail, but I'm going to tell you something. This is the Fedora update system. The link is out there on the
Hmm.
link that Gaurav has put out, right?
Yes.
So the idea here is that we are going to do a live. It's not
Okay.
going to be like a long life, but it's going to be a very small life. Now, here's how it is going to be like.
Hmm.
This is a package, and its package
Okay.
is made 2 weeks ago
Hmm.
by a RH container bot, which is written by Mr. AC Linux called Dan Walsh. Most of you
Okay.
who know Dan Walsh know who that person is.
Yes.
So a lot of tribute goes to that person behind making Podman
Yes.
what it
Yes. Yes.
today. Um, Here's the thing: it is made against a Fedora 33. It is, if you look at it, there are a couple of folks who have said that this has passed the test, right?
Hmm.
So they say works. So if you look at it, it says works, and this says works. And if you look at it, they have karma'd it like a positive kind of situation. Okay, let me just stop this. Go back to this. So if you look at it, they have put a karma over here, they have put a
Yeah.
karma over here, and a karma over here,
Hmm.
right? And then another karma. So what that means is they are saying officially that this is working. Thing
Yeah.
is, I don't know if that is working or not, right?
Hmm.
So for me to know if that is working or not, I would go to this site. This
Hmm.
site, how I go to is clicking on this build. So if you look at this build, this
Hmm.
thingy here, I click on it, it would point me to this. This is the exact build system. And if you look back, this one says updates system. Now I'm jumping to a system called the build system. So this one builds basically the packages. You can build locally as well, but this one is the Fedora's way of building. And if you look at it, it has all the packages from the source, and it has all the packages which are of different architectures. So ARC64, which is for your Raspberry Pi, you know, 4 and plus, basically. You have the older Raspberry Pis, which is ARM 7, and then you have the 32 bits, the PowerPC LE, the S390X. The interesting thing is the X64, which is important to us, like our machines, day-to-day machines, right?
Hmm.
If you look at it, it has a package called Podman 2.2.1 F33 and then the RPM name. And there is a download button over here. If
Hmm.
I copy the link from here and go back to my terminal and I do, can
So
you
I guess
see
we
my
cannot
terminal
see
now?
the terminal. No.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to just go ahead and wait a sec and share my screen right away. I have to
No
stop
problems.
sharing. Share screen, window, operating systems allow, single window, terminal.
So people out there, please see that we are. This is easy to do the testing, and I don't know why people are afraid of doing the contribution. Or
Gaurav, can you
if
just
you,
point it
yes,
to
we can
the
definitely
screen?
see the screen. But yes, all the people who want to see that, if you are
Okay.
a non-developer, or I should say the non-coder, it is that much easy to do the contributions,
So
right? We
now
all are friends,
interestingly,
and that is how go. Yeah.
so give me a sec with this one. Uh, can you see my terminal by the way?
Yeah, we can see that.
That's good. Just give me a sec. So I'm going to do something which is a very simple thing, which is I'm going to just say man polymer, right?
Hmm.
And if you look at it, this one does the job pretty fine. Now,
Hmm.
very interestingly, if I want to just go ahead and say Podman. So if you guys don't know, Podman is just a container bot, and it just does a lot of things. So I can do Podman pull. Wait a sec. Oh, yeah, okay. So Podman pull, and I can just go ahead and write. Let's say, what do you want me to pull for the easiest stuff? Registry dot Fedora project dot or let me just pull Fedora latest. So very interestingly, this is now using the Podman package, the latest one, right? And I can basically done Podman run ID and then right. So now,
Oh.
if you look at it, I have basically just used the latest version of the Podman software, and I have just I'm able to successfully pull an image, right? And then I'm able to
Access the
get
shell.
inside that image, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Which means
Hmm.
this software is functional, right? So
Yes.
I would be able to now go ahead and say, I'll share my screen again and I'll go to this. Can you see this?
Yes. Yes, we can.
So I am logged in off my FAS. If you can see over here, the little icon,
Hmm.
I can go and I can say this update is generally functional, and I can
Hmm.
say tested on F33 and Podman pull works as advertised. Hmm. Right? And I can just leave a comment. So the moment I do this, now this one would have a comment, right? Which says that I have tested this on a Fedora 33 machine and
Hmm.
the podman pull command works as usual. And if I now go back to my dashboard and if I go back to my public profile I should be able to see that I made a comment about 33 seconds ago, um, that I have tested Podman.
Interesting. Odd man.
And
Good.
if I give you this link right out, this link, just this link on the on the chat, if you open it up on your end and share your screen, you should be able to see everything that I have done, and I don't actually have to go ahead and say which package that I have been testing.
No, that
So
is what the beauty about open source is. Means it's all about helping each other. You
yes,
rightly mentioned, Samantha, sir, that we all are friends. And friends, what it does is help each other. When one friend do something good, we should be there to help him in doing that testing as well. So guys, this is the most easiest way. When I want to be the contributor, I reached out to Sumantro sir, and this is exactly what he told me, that you just create an account, fast id, you create a Bugzilla account, you go there, create all these things, introduce yourself, that what all technologies you works on, and test it, man. So we just have to test these certain things. So this is one of the most easiest way. All the useful and the links which you will be requiring to get on board as a QA are there in the description of this video. Do reach out to all your friends who want to be the on like the contributor, who wants to get started, who are afraid of doing the developing, but they are equally motivated, just all like you, to be the contributors. So this is the most easiest way to be the contributors, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the easiest to get started.
Yes. So this is
So
something that we just made a commit. We just did a contribution. We tested the things. So Sumantro sir, now like it's been a 1 hour, and I guess our friends are also at their home, and they must be like in a mood of celebration. Anything that you want to say to all the viewers, or you want to gift on the Christmas, please?
so here's the important thing.
Hmm.
See, all of us will take newer resolution. I have been taking them for some time, and then what happens, right? It's either
Yes.
today or it's no day, right? So
Yes.
it
Yes.
happens. We do it couple of days, and then we are like, oh yeah, I'm tired. So it is more important to lay that first brick,
Hmm.
and with the utmost dedication we can, and that is very important to have, right?
Hmm.
So here's the thing:
Hmm.
if this video gets about, not about 200, exact 200 plus likes, right?
Okay.
Comment
Hmm.
on YouTube. Um, what we are going to do is we are going to make sure that there is a resolution. The resolution is that we would be doing a very, very interactive way to get started with one of the most important ways to contribute to an operating system, which is testing its kernel.
Ooh. I guess that that is gonna be one of the very first, right, on YouTube, that
Yes,
we are
it
gonna
is
do the
the
live.
first time, it has never been done before.
Yes,
There
yes,
has
yes,
not
yes.
been kernel testing done
Mhm.
on YouTube.
YouTube.
There are
So,
videos of it, but
guys,
nothing live.
yes.
So this one would be a very short, sweet adventure if we get the likes, if we are gonna go ahead. And I am going to, so we have, so in the starting of the year, I have kept this very nice time slot of 4th of January till 11th of January. That's the first week. So that's the usual
Mhm.
time when we try to motivate ourselves to get one thing done, right? How great would be to have the contribution done, becoming, making yourself as an open source contributor and adding a badge to your name in the first 1 week of the year starting.
Yes.
The
Awesome.
first week
So,
of the
guys,
year,
like
that's how
on
we are going
behalf
to do
of the entire CWG, means the Cheers with Gaurav team, guys, we will do this exclusive live kernel testing, and I'm gonna jump on a brief that what kernel testing is all about. Now it's your job to spread the video, get us to the 200 like, till 4th of Jan. So till the 4th of Jan, if we are able to pull off 200 likes on this video, I promise you, and Sumantro sir also, because we are doing it public and live, that we will join you hand in hand. We will do the live kernel testing right at the year of starting. So that's an exclusive for
Let,
the entire team. So
let's
guys,
throw another
be
thing at
ready.
it.
Okay,
Let's
another gift.
also
Okay, okay,
let's
okay.
also go ahead
Hmm.
and do a session where we will be talking about the internal workings of the Fedora community. So,
Okay.
a lot of people have come to me and asked, "Hey, I want to create an open source project, right? Because it's cool to
Hmm.
have open source project."
Yes.
So, but people fail to understand, or rather, have a hard time understanding what it takes to create an open source project, right? This is like,
Yes.
what do you need? Like, what is that thing that you need to set up your project and make it open source, make it global,
Hmm.
right? See, you need to understand all the projects that we see right now, NMCLI, the network manager. See, we use it every day. A lot of people use it. Network manager is like the thing for us. Without that, you cannot connect to Wi-Fi. You cannot do
Yes.
anything. The same with kernel. The same with things like GNOME. They all started with nothing.
Hmm.
That nothing was then the way of getting started. But today, we have this brilliant mind in the industry who have written or proven ways, or they have set up proven ways to set up your open source projects, to set up the open source community around it. So we don't
Okay.
have to work that hard. We just need to know the right tools. Like I said,
Yes.
it is very important to have friends in the industry. And it is
Yes.
important to know who can work where to make your project the most efficient one.
Hmm.
So we need everybody to join that call. So that call would basically be me talking about building a community, how we did in Fedora India, how I did it for Fedora QA. So I have two
Hmm.
perspectives on that. One is how we did in Fedora India, and how I did it in Fedora QA specifically. So QA was a very
Okay.
small community. It was like 200, sorry, 50 odd people. And I have, like, with the help of all the other people, my teammates, we have made it 496 this year. And we have about 2000 plus testers, like test runs every release cycle, which is huge. When it comes to 2000 test runs,
Hmm.
it gives developers the feedback they cannot even expect if they even test that code throughout the day. Like, it is not possible. It is just because of that community that Red Hat is able to get all those feedbacks for its
Yes.
products. It's simple, right? I'm going to make sure that I demystify those things and I put it up in a package
Oh,
and I present it to you guys. How to create a
awesome.
very successful open source community, and focusing on, and that will be featuring the Fedora community because I have some experience with it. So I can share that out of experience, and then you guys can learn how, if you have a project, if you have a mind-blowing idea, how can you turn that one idea into an open source project and get all these people
Yes.
working
Yes.
with you overnight and then making it like a thing.
So, explaining the entire Fedora org and demystifying all the myths by the man himself, Sumantro. So, he has made a public resolution, guys. Now it's up to us. Let's join hand in hand and let's make this video a 200 likes. Just we are asking for a 200 likes, and I believe our all viewers can reach out to that. If we get 200 likes on this video, the very first thing we will do the live kernel testing, and this is our new year resolution. And second, we will have another call with Sumantra sir where he's going to tell you that how he was able to create this Fedora India group, and also demystifying that if you need the right resources to create your own open source community, how
Yeah.
you can do that, right?
Yes.
So
That's
yes,
right.
so thank you so much, Sumantro sir, for giving us that a gift on this Christmas, sharing your
Cheers
experience with
with love.
Fedora and getting started with Fedora itself. But before I ask you to close out this part, Our one of our friend who has put it down this question, that the resolution that we have taken, if we are able to get 200 likes on this video, we will do the live kernel testing. What the kernel testing is all about, can you just give a quick round on that, please?
So, you know, when anyone looks at a
Hmm.
Linux operating system, we always say, we usually say Fedora Linux, Arch Linux, Ubuntu Linux. So the reason is that word Linux, so Linux is basically the Linux kernel. It refers to a very small piece of software. By the
Hmm.
way, it's not huge, it's a very small piece of software, but that is the reason why your laptop is so efficient at doing whatever it does today, right? So you
Yeah.
can load up operating system, it can do a lot of things. Kernel, in small sense, is the heart of the entire
The
system.
operating system.
It is the
Yes.
heart. So it's the same thing, much like you can,
So,
much like, Gaurav is right now thinking there's a very small heart in him. Well, everybody of us, we might have a very small heart. Yes, might have a very small heart, but then, it is incomparable to our entire body weight, but it is the most important part of it. That's what kernel
yes.
is. It's a very small piece of software, but it does so many things that I can't even. If I start naming, it would be another book, right? Now, talking about that, the testing is all about making sure that the latest kernel 5.10, so that's the kernel that's last released, we will test it on a laptop or a machine. Every one of you would be testing it on your machines. Idea would be that when you install this new kernel, you would go ahead and test for a set of automated scripts which would try to see all the driver functions and the all the functions of the system calls that's written, that's working fine. Other than that, we would be testing the full extent of, let's say, if your camera is working fine, all the other thousand other Linux utils. That's the package basically. So we will use Linux utils to see what your CPU fan is doing. Is it functioning fine? Is your RAM functioning fine? Is your memory functioning fine? We would go ahead and test all of these stuff for three things. Default is the default way of testing
Mhm.
the kernel. The regression, which is to make sure nothing is broken. Three, performance. If has the new kernel improved the performance that it is supposed to be improving, or is it still the same? Right? We would be
So I
testing
guess
all
in
these three.
nutshell, I can say we are gonna do the full body diagnose of our new Fedora 33 or 34, I should say,
And 30,
right?
so
With the
this is
latest.
gonna be tested on 33, but then would be
Yes,
available for 34. And this
34
is the
as
same
well.
kernel which is shipping with Relay 2. So
So, guys, now it's your job. Make that thing happen. Sumantro sir want to see 200 likes. If we get 200 likes on this video, me and Sumantro sir will join hand in hand again in the January to have this kernel testing live done. Second, he will join in another call on which he's gonna demystifying all the myths to create a community and how he created the Fedora India group. So, just on the closer part, I have always seen Sumantro sir a believer of a famous quote said by someone that fighting isn't a team sport. Fighting isn't a team sport, it's an individual sport. And similar thing happens with the contribution. It's take a single person individual step to create history. And I request you all that if you feel the same, that we all are the friends, let's join in hand, reach out to all our friends who want to be a contributor and show them this video. Let them learn about Fedora. And if they want to be and get started with the contribution, I guess the links are there in the description. And still, if you feel that you are not able to understand anything, I have also put it down Sumantro sir official email ID to get in contact. That is ping to sumantro@gmail.com. Just drop an email. saying that, hey, I have attended a Let's Cheers Gaurav session or Cheers with Gaurav session. I have watched your YouTube stream. Can you please help me in understanding that? Or if you have any question left, please feel free to put that down in the comment section of this video, and we will be there
Mhm.
to answer them live. So, Sumantro sir, any piece of advice to all the viewers who are watching so that they are excited about the resolution that we have taken? Yes.
Well, this was the same quote that I would put from the very sarcastic quote that Google employees gave me, or rather, the Google director of open source gave us, which is
Mhm.
stay positive, test negative.
Stay positive, test negative. Oh, yes. And these days, staying positive is not good. So, yes.
So the biggest quote is, make sure that you make the next year count. Make sure that you get whatever you wished for, come to you. Like be the magnet for what you want, and make sure that the universe is gonna give you what it is supposed to. And be
Yes.
grateful to things. Be grateful to your friends, family. Have a bunch of friends who are close to you, and then make sure that all of this counts towards the bigger picture goal, right? So
Yes.
when all of us see ourselves in 2021, should have a motive, should have a vision, and that vision is to be the best self of whoever we want to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sumantra sir,
All
for
right.
accepting this
All right.
request. Merry
It is
Christmas,
my
and
pleasure.
thank you so much for taking that resolution for me and to the entire Cheers with Gaurav family out there. We
Yes,
will
sir.
not gonna disappoint you. I have trust and I have faith on my entire Cheers with Gaurav family that we will even break the record, and we will make sure that you are gonna come back to our call and do the live kernel testing and show your all realistic thing that you have been doing with the Fedora India. So
Yep.
cheers to you, sir. Thank you so much for
All right.
accepting the call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thanks to the entire family of CWG.
Yes, thank you. So thank you so much, sir. And to all the viewers out there, so it's been, yes, the Merry Christmas. Stay blessed, and may your all loved ones are doing good, and God bless them with a positive health and a wealthy and a healthy life. Just on a closing part, someone rightly said that never give up on your dreams just because it takes time to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. Don't worry about. So never give up on your dreams. Stay motivated, stay positive, and make sure that the resolution that me and Sumantra sir has taken to reach out and do the live testing and tell you that how to build a successful community. Let's break that record. We just need 200 likes on this video. Spread it with your friends. Spread it to the all the people who desperately want to be the contributor but they don't have the guide. Show them this video. Reach out to me or reach out to Sumantro sir. The links are there in the description. The email ID is there in the description. Just go out, read it out, and if you have any help you require, just put it down in the comment section, and I'll be there to pull out Sumantro sir back on our call, and we will do such more sessions ahead. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Stay wealthy and always do cheers. So, cheers to me, to you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you